Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 30th of January for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the key features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all of the ins and outs for the signs from Aries through to Pisces. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new, it's great to have you with me. Please like or comment. I answer all comments. This is very much a community. And also subscribe. And if you would like to understand what the next year will hold for you as an individual, as opposed to your zodiac sign, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast, but also my special package of 30% off your life roadmap report. This helps you to understand where you can seize opportunities more firmly, but also some of the patterns that may have repeated themselves that are not so easy. The more you can intimately understand what these are about, the more you can overcome them. Also, I will provide your free Zodiac, Indian and Chinese 12-month forecast completely free of charge. Please see the link below. So this week begins with the Sun forging a really energized link with Mars. But later in the week, Mars and Venus are actually going to be in a tense right angle. But that can just amp up the attraction of someone that you may encounter. Essentially, the Sun in the sign of Aquarius is about friendship. Mars in Gemini is about communications. So if there's somebody that you're attracted to in a social context, then the text messages and emails can soon flow. There can be a meeting up and it can be great fun. Or you may find yourself in the mood to be much more active. But with Venus, the planet of allure, in the sign of Pisces, this is a more reflective location, but Venus actually is exalted here. It likes being in Pisces, and it's asking us to be attuned to how things feel. Mars has an element of urgency around communications in Gemini. So I wouldn't think it's a great idea to rush communications around anyone. If you get to know them this week or you've been recently getting to know them, just let things go at their own pace. But there can be a sense of desire. Now also this week, we do see the Sun in a much more discordant right angle to Uranus. And this may just ring a little bit of a bell in the back of your mind. And the reason is because a year ago, this exact aspect occurred, but also because Saturn in Aquarius has been in that extended right angle with Uranus in Taurus. But the Sun's moved in. Now the Sun obviously is about our core energy. Uranus in the sign of Taurus is about everyday money, but also our self-worth. So it is possible that there is going to be something that comes out into the open as this week goes on, that the truth seeker Uranus pushes us to fess up about. And the sign of Aquarius is very much into the idea of truth because, of course, Uranus is the co-ruler of this sign. But by the end of the week on Sunday, we have a very intense full moon in the sign of Leo. This is a culmination event. If we look back to 6 months ago when we had the Leo new moon, that forged an amazing trine with Jupiter. It was very much about showcasing our talents, our desires, our passions. But the Sun in Aquarius is at the coolest point of its journey for its entire yearly cycle. It's technically in detriment, and the dispassionate side of Aquarius pushes back at what can be seen as the more frivolous and even attention-seeking energies of Leo. And because the Uranus energies in Taurus is very much about how much something's worth, but it can be an erratic energy, this is not the best of times to speculate. So over the next 2 weeks, I wouldn't be risking any resources on any get-rich-quick scheme, or if a friend recommends buying something that just seems to be absolutely amazing, I'd slow things down. Also, this can be a time when affections, whether it's with friendships or in a love relationship, can be influenced by our values. And if our values are not meshing with someone that we're spending a lot of time with, this can bring some turbulence into the open in the next 2 weeks. But also this week, we do have a very compassionate link between Mercury and Neptune. And it's just encouraging us to try to understand why we react in certain ways, what conditions us to have the responses we have. But I think that the full moon is essentially quite a triggering event. Please stay with me for your in-depth forecast for each of the 12 signs. So Scorpio, your week commencing the 30th of January forecast begins with your traditional ruler of Mars in that highly intense 8th house, but actually forging a really strong link with the Sun in house 4. If there's something to do with a financial or property matter, perhaps linked to your home, something you want to change, you can have a lot of spark to push on and get it done. But Mars forges a tender angle with Venus as the week goes on, but one that really could give you a lot of desire to get up close and personal to someone. Yes, Mars and Venus are the two planets of love in different ways. Mars, the raw need and desire to make things happen. Venus is much more coquettish and charming and svelte. And Venus is in a fantastic location for you. The 5th house is very much about showing your affection. You can be quite guarded and suspicious, but they are not in the easiest of angles. So is there someone you're going to be attracted to who maybe you don't even like? Or is it going to be someone that you're already involved with and there may be differences between that you're finding a little bit hard to reconcile? I don't think the neat, romantic, intimate side of things will be so much of the problem. I think it's going to be much more to do with perhaps who has a tendency to try to steer the relationship a little bit. Not necessarily in a darkly sinister way, but if one of you wants to kind of be a bit more in charge, the other one could push back on that. And this is all going to come to the boil on the back of the full moon, which will see your emotions very close to the surface. And because you can be really quite private about how you feel about things, it can feel uncomfortable if it seems to you that people can peer into your soul. But because the sun position is influencing your emotions, and the moon position is so high in the sky, the rather erratic, provocative energies of Uranus in your sector relating comes along, and whether it's to do with work or to do with home and your personal issues, and somehow or another there could be a kind of really frank discussion which could prove a bit unsettling if you are someone who does like to keep your celestial cards really close to your chest. So the start of the week sees a lot of physical drive and determination to get some practical things sorted out. But as the week goes on, I think there's a bit more complexity. And maybe it just comes down to trying to balance your work and professional demands with your home and emotional needs. And if they're a little bit out of kilter and someone tells you honestly in a way that they're trying to be supportive, if they try to give you some information, but in a frank way, in a way that you can often be towards others, try to receive this information in the way that it's meant.